It's a good day to learn weight and balance. Grab a cup of coffee, let's dive in. So the weight and balance feature in the Garmin Pilot app is pretty incredible. You can calculate weight and balance in seconds, you can play around with shifting your loads, and it just gives you that peace of mind that your entire flight's going to be well within the CG envelope. So weight and balance information is derived from the aircraft profile, and there's two main ways to get your information. So the first way to get that information, which is the easiest, is to get it from the pre-downloaded list that is supplied by aircraft manufacturers. So if you have a pretty common airplane, odds are Garmin Pilot probably already has your weight and balance information loaded. The alternative is to manually input your weight and balance information. We're going to cover both of those ways. But to start, let's run through using the pre-downloaded figures. So to add a new aircraft, we'll hit the home button, we'll go to Settings, Aircraft, Add Aircraft. Now we can scroll down and find our manufacturer and then scroll through the list to find our model. So I'm going to be using a Piper Dakota for the example of this video, but you can use whatever your model is. And then just choose what type of information you want to import. Really, weight and balance is the only thing we care about here, but there's no harm in importing the other data. And then we need to add our empty weight and our empty CG. So I know the empty weight is going to be 1,832 pounds, and then our empty CG is going to be 83.3 inches. These figures should come out of your POH. Please don't use mine, it won't work. Okay, so now that we have entered those, now we're kind of in the Edit Aircraft screen. We need to add just the bare minimum amount of information required. So we need to add our tail number. I'm going to make mine test 2 so I don't actually use this in a flight plan. And then we need to add our color. I'll just put white on blue, wherever that is. And my base airport is Bolivar, so Mike 17. And then I do encourage you, when you set the aircraft up, take some time, fill in this information appropriately. However, I'm not gonna do so for the purposes of this video. If you need help on doing that, I have a separate video on setting up a new aircraft in Garmin Pilot, so you may check that one out. Okay, so now that we got this information, we can skip to the weight and balance tab, and you'll see that it's already configured. So we can click on it to view what settings are enabled. You can see our empty weight and our empty CG is populated down here with the moment automatically calculated. If you make a modification to that airframe, whether adding equipment, subtracting equipment, you have to recalculate your weight and balance. You can click on these and update those figures at any time. And then the big thing, we just want to go to our envelope for a normal category and make sure that all those fields are there and it looks good, looks very similar to the one in the POH. Now we can hit done and hit save. And now our new aircraft, you can see test 2 is loaded into our aircraft. If we want to use that, we can go home, click weight and balance, select our aircraft tail number from here, and now we're configuring our weight and balance for that. So that's it if you have one of those common aircraft profiles. It is dead simple to get set up. Closer to the end of this video, I am going to run through how to calculate weight and balance. So if you would like help on that, use the chapters below to skip through this next section. But now I'm going to back up and cover manually creating a new aircraft profile. So for manual profile creation, we'll do the same thing. We'll go home, settings, aircraft, add aircraft. And instead of selecting from manufacturer, we will hit new aircraft model. Now, all of these fields are blank, so we are gonna have to give them some information, which is gonna take some time. So grab your POH, grab a cup of coffee, and let's just put some information in. So identifier is gonna be the same thing. I'll make this one test 3, and then my filing type is gonna be P28A. Category is airplane. We'll do the same white on blue as before. Shoot, so there's white and come up to blue. Base airport is Bolivar. And I'm gonna go ahead and just quickly fill out this information. You do the same for your airframe. Okay, so now once we have that information entered, we can hit save. You will want to add some additional information here, but we're going to skip to the weight and balance sheet once again. And you can see that we need to configure it, so we can click on there, and here we are. Now, some of this information does populate from the aircraft profile. I want to highlight here If you have an aircraft that can operate in the utility category, you need to enable that there, so you need to put those envelopes in separately. However, the Dakota can only operate in the normal category, so I'm going to turn that off and only enter the one envelope. So we need to come down here to our empty weight. So I'll put 1,832 pounds in empty with an 83.3 inch CG. And then it calculates our empty moment. Our maximum ramp weight is 3,011 pounds with our maximum takeoff weight of 3,000 pounds. And I have no maximum landing weight. If your gear retraction causes a change in moment, you can add that there. And then otherwise, we just need to add some stations. Stations are going to be wherever you add weight to the aircraft. So it's going to be seats, it's going to be baggage compartment, and fuel for most of us. And then there's also a way to add like external equipment, which we'll cover as well. So let's go ahead and add our front seats. So I'll just name this section front seats. It is a seat. There are 2 of them. I have no maximum weight, and I will enter it for an arm of 80.5 inches. And we can save that station. Now we will do the exact same thing for the rear seats. So I will make that say rear seats. Same thing, 2, no max weight with an arm of 118.1 inches. Now I need to add my cargo station, so we'll call that baggage. And then we will change the type to baggage. And I do have a maximum weight figure of 200 pounds, so I want to make sure that's put in there, and that has an arm of 142.8 inches. Lastly, I need to add my fuel station, so I'll call that avgas, and it is 72 gallons usable at a 95-inch arm. We'll save that station. You can see you kind of have this longitudinal timeline showing you kind of where each station belongs on the CG. I mentioned the external or additional equipment earlier, so you can add that optional equipment here. So it's going to be like spray equipment or a camera rig or any type of like temporary avionic. And then the same thing with variable weights. So if you carry like extra oil or if you have TKS fluid, you can add that here where it'll allow you to plan consumption of that fluid, whatever it is, throughout the flight. The advanced section will allow you to get a little more in depth. So if you have combined weight restrictions, like for a cargo aircraft, or if you have a placard that's required to be displayed for commercial compliance, you can add that there. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go ahead and click on the normal category envelope. So for adding the envelope points, you're gonna wanna find the graph in your POH. I'll flash it up on the screen, the one for the Dakota, so you know what it looks like. And it has 2 axes, an X and a Y, and it has weight and it has CG. You need to go through the outer bounds of that envelope to fully capture your CG envelope. You only need to do it when it changes direction because it is linear. So basically at every corner, you need to have a point. So I'll go through and we'll add some points for the Dakota so you can see what that looks like. Just make sure you do it. Don't copy my CG points, do it for your specific aircraft. So my first point is gonna be at 1,700 pounds. And that looks like about 80 inches. And then my second point will be at 1,900 pounds. Whoops. And 80 inches as well. And you can see as you create these points, you're gonna start making, this graph is gonna start taking shape. My next point is gonna be at like 2,500 pounds, and that's about 82.5 inches is what it looks like. And then we'll be at 3,000. It's about 88.5. And now we're another one at 3,000. 92. And then my last one, we're back at 1,700 and also at 92. So now you can just do a quick visual check and make sure your envelope matches the rough shape in the POH. If you need to guess, err on the side of being conservative. So err on the side of your envelope being too small as opposed to being too large. And then once we get that, we can just hit done. I do want to say, if you're operating in the utility category, you'll just click on that envelope on the left-hand side and redo this process again. But now that we have entered that, we'll hit done. You can see that weight and balance is configured. Let's hit save, and now we can start using it. Okay, so now that we've got that entered, we are ready to actually use our weight and balance. So to get to the weight and balance screen, we'll go home, hit weight and balance, and here we are. We need to select our tail number. So you can see we just entered test 3. So we can enter that, and now we are using that data we just put in. And now I just need to start adding weight in the stations. So say I'm flying, and then we'll add somebody else in the passenger seat at 170 pounds, and then let's throw some baggage in the back, like 100, and we'll say we've got, actually we can come to quit set fuel, say we're at tabs. So you can see as I made those adjustments, it shifted the longitudinal CG on the CG envelope, and we are well within the parameters. Another way to enter this would be the graphical view. So now you can see kind of like a top-down view of what the airplane is going to be configured like. So let's say our passenger wanted to move to the back. So I can throw him back there, and say we also throw like a 90-pound passenger back there. You can see it shift around, and do the same thing with fuel, where you can drag your fuel. Cool part about this is it's going to sync. You can sync it with your active flight plan. So you can, if you have a flight plan that you want to do your weight and balance calculation for, just click that and it'll import your fuel consumption. So now you have a takeoff and a landing point. It's just Bolivar to Branson, so it's not using very much fuel. But you can turn that off and say come in and override it. Say we're going to use 45 gallons on that trip. And it'll update and shift that landing point down so you can see exactly what point you're going to be landing at. Now, we've been using the CG envelope for this demonstration, but you can also view your moment envelope, or you can view it on a station chart. And I do want to show you, like if we get out of balance here, like it's kind of hard to get the Dakota out. Okay, so here we go. Now, once we get out, now we have a warning that says our CG is too far aft. Or if we go overweight, we'll get a warning. So it makes it really like in your face if you have a problem, and then you can make some adjustments until you're well within your CG limits now. So now once you have this configured how you like, you can view the detailed results here. So it'll show you your CG at your different phases of flight. And if you are running a commercial operation or you just want to keep track of your load sheet, you can share your load sheet here. And it'll automatically generate this load sheet showing kind of your weight, your CG, fuel information, and then the same information throughout the different phases of flight. So that's it. That is like the top level overview of how to set up weight and balance in the Garmin Pilot app. It's a pretty incredible feature. As you can see, like just a few minutes of setup allows you instant convenience, the ability to quickly calculate your weight and balance, and give you that peace of mind that you're always within your envelope when you're flying. I thank you for watching this video till the end. It really means a lot to me. Be sure to check out some of my other Garmin Pilot related videos up on my channel. I also have some GTN, GPS series stuff up there as well. You guys fly safe, and we'll see you in the next video.